Hello, everyone. This is Brother Benson Media, and I'm still waiting for my two brothers so that they can join us, um, so that we can have a conversation this evening. Quite has happened, from the political landscape uh, um, to the global world. There's so much that is happening. But before we go into the main discussion, we were just having a conversation with one of our friends, and he was telling me how the World Cup, especially, has been stressful for him because he has invested feelings, especially in African teams, but um, most of the time he get disappointed. Especially the one for Senegal really, really disappointed him, and so many of African fan base of Senegal because at the start of the game, especially the first half, Senegal was leading 2 goals to nil. They were playing against Belgium, but from nowhere, the Belgium came from behind and equalized the match. And some few minutes to the end of extra time, there was a penalty, and they converted the penalty, and they now proceed to the round 16 knockout. But you look at majority of Africans teams. Look at Congo. Congo started very well, especially when they were playing against England. They scored within a period of 7 minutes, if I'm wrong, and people had hope that they could qualify to the round 16, but it never happened. Also came Senegal. They played well, and from nowhere, I have I don't know what happened, but I think there's something that they should borrow from Morocco. Morocco has the energy to fight, and I don't know it's because of pressure. I don't know whether it is a favoritism in officiating of these matches, but like I think for now, if you don't want to hurt your feelings, especially when it comes to soccer or it's come to football, especially some African teams will disappoint you along the way, but you have to support them. But like sometimes it end up stressing you a bit, especially for the Senegal. The Senegal match and how the Senegal played, they gave majority of Africans hope that they might beat Belgium because they were leading 2 goals to nil in the first half. Then what happened? Wakakuja wakatandikwa. So hao ndio ilikuwa mazungumzo ambayo sisi tulikuwa nayo. We are still talking about especially if you're from the lake, we are still talking about the death of Tony Ndiema. There are so many that we are now getting, especially on the industry of Ajawa. They call it Ajawa. And it begs the question, especially in this industry, based on now what people are saying, because there are those who claims, these are not my words, these are the words of some people. There are those who claims that the sensation Wangler musician might have lost his life under mysterious circumstances, especially under mysterious circumstances, and the witchcraftry and all that. So you look at it on how people love the Owangla musicians and the effort they put to entertain everyone. Then behind the scenes kuna vitu ambazo zinafanyika mpaka uwezi elewa ya kulingana na yale ambao labda mahabari ambapo sasa zinachipuka, zinasemekana katika mtandao wa jamii, watu wanasema, inamaanisha kuna vitu vingi ambapo zinaendelea kule kinyume ya pazia yenye sisi tujui. Sana sana sisi wale ambao tunakuwa ni wa kusikiza mziki wao. Unajua sisi ukipata mziki ile ni mzuri, mtu ameimba vizuri, wewe unacheza, kumbe hao wenyewe huko nyuma ni kama hawana ushirikiano bora ama ushirikiano mema, wanaongea vitu za mtu kutoa mambo ya ushirikina, vitu kama hizo. Hiyo ni yao, lakini si vyema ikifika mahali ambapo labda watu wakikuwa katika sana sana sekta ya burudani. Kama unatupatia burudani, mi nadhani kwamba inafaa mshindane kwa kutupatia mziki mzuri, mziki yenye kuna mafunzo, lakini msishindane ili kutoa uhai ya mtu ambaye mko naye katika industry moja. So hiyo ni swala ambalo bado watajadili. Okay, thank you so much for everyone who is watching, and as I said, this is Brother Benson Media, and we are also streaming in Kikao na Sauti. We are also streaming in Kikao na Sauti, so you can also catch up there. We are also on Facebook. You can also engage us on the Facebook handle, and as we go on to the main discussion, there's something called tokenism, political tokenism, and this is where especially politicians are giving out or dishing out money, especially when they want for you to get their support, or they want you to mobilize for them. And this was to bring us to what has happened to the young guy Ouma, who lost his life, especially under mysterious, in a situation that the investigation are still going on. It is said, or it was alleged, that it was in the car of the PS Fikirini, and after that, what happened, that he was shot dead. And let's just play this video, and maybe from there we can have a discussion over it and see what really transpired, and how is this one affecting the politics, and how will this one also affect the work of the PS who was appointed, especially after the Gen Z, and he was appointed to the government so that he should especially take care the interest of the young people, and now the interests of those young people are dying in his hands or in his presence. How does that one sound? Okay, let's play this and just listen to what it's all about.
Now, tonight, more questions are being raised regarding the fatal shooting of 28-year-old Cecile Ouma following a violent confrontation allegedly involving the security detail of Youth Affairs Principal Secretary Fikirini Jacobs. The incident, which occurred on Tuesday night at Park Road, Pangani, has sparked outrage, with witnesses describing a harrowing scene in which the victim was allegedly thrown out of the PS's vehicle after sustaining a gunshot wound. Fatma Chidagaya tells us more on this developing story.
A day of empowerment turned into a nightmare. 28-year-old Cecile Ouma is dead, allegedly shot in the abdomen during a confrontation over funds said to have been meant for youth groups gathered at an event in Nairobi's Kariakor area, attended by Youth Affairs Principal Secretary Fikirini Jacobs.
So after the event was over, he walked with the PA, the PS, and the bodyguard to the PS car.
Witnesses recount a scene of chaos inside the PS's vehicle. And according to sources close to the investigations, a confrontation over an alleged 10,000 shillings payout spiraled out of control before a gunshot was heard. Witnesses say the vehicle door then flung open and Ouma was pushed out, critically wounded.
Vijana walikuwa kama 60. Mheshimiwa akatuambia tutoe kiongozi wetu tukampa ses. So akapanda gari na ses kufika Kariakor stage akapea ses pesa ambapo ilikuwa ni 10,000. 10,000 ukipiga na watu 60 ni kama 160. of which hawezi pea mtu 160 from morning mpaka jioni alafu mpe 160. Tuliambia huyo mwenzetu rudishia mheshimiwa hiyo pesa yake akae nayo. So ile kumrudishia, conflict ikaanza kwa gari.
Omar was then rushed to Ngara nursing home but succumbed to excessive bleeding. Police later moved his body to Chiromo mortuary overnight, a move that has raised questions from the family and human rights activists.
Mimi nataka kuleta hiyo kwa disciplinary committee na tuchukue action, and I want him to resign honorably. Na ule ofisa bunduki yake mwanzo iangaliwe, kwa nini amechukua sheria mkononi.
Today, the investigations gathered pace. At least 7 people, including his 2 bodyguards and one of the directors who was traveling with him, have recorded statements with detectives. Sources indicate that Omar allegedly became rowdy inside the vehicle and at one point attempted to grab a firearm. Detectives have since confiscated the 2 bodyguards' firearms for ballistic examinations to establish which weapon discharged the fatal bullet, even as the alleged shooter remains in police custody. We are outside the Pangani police stations where detectives are recording statements as investigations continue into the fatal shooting of 28-year-old Cecil Ouma. The victim was allegedly shot by the bodyguard of Principal Secretary Fikirini Jacobs last evening on Tuesday and is now being held in police custody as investigations continue.
All right. Thank you so much. That is the story you had there. So, few questions that might arise is what happened inside the vehicle when they were inside the vehicle when Ouma and the bodyguards and the Fikirini they were inside the vehicle. What happened? Then, secondly, after being shot dead, why was he thrown outside the car? Because like if it could have happened that it was a way of defense maybe to the bodyguards, after doing that they could have used their car especially to transport him to the nearest um, hospital, especially for emergency attendants, but I don't know, everyone, we don't know what happened now. um, that is why I raise something called tokenism. Especially, look at the guy saying that there were almost 60, and you're being given 10,000 and 60 people, 60,000, and no, it was 60,000 people divided by 10,000. Yeah. So is almost 167 shillings that you're going to get for a day. And if now we would say that because of 167 shillings has made Mr. Uma to lose his life, you know, and when you are called upon to mobilize, especially the young people, um, you know, the leaders will always not just come up and pick anybody to mobilize for them. They will pick somebody who is very familiar or who has been doing mobilization, especially for politicians. And this is a wake-up call, especially for young people. Yeah, and it tells that about your life. It talks about your life. At the end of the day, right now, even if the parents will be uh, uh, calling for justice, justice usually doesn't bring you back to life. Is gone, and the rest of them, especially all that is going to be investigated at the end of the day. Sometimes you will find that the police were acting to defend, especially their boss, maybe because the way you heard in the news that he became so rowdy, So when he becomes so rowdy, what does that one mean? It means now the maisha ya boss iko hatarini, So lazima uangalie ni jambo gani utaona kwamba from that situation ni jambo gani ambapo itakuwa ni vizuri sana wewe kutumia. Lakini hii inafaa ikuwe ni somo kubwa sana sana kwa mavijana wa mtaa ama vijana ambao wanaingilia siasa. Lazima ujue ukitaka kuingia katika siasa, yeah, ambapo ni kwamba labda mnakusanyika ili muongee ama mzungumuze kwa vitu ambazo labda zinaweza wasaidia, lakini unapata kwamba mnalipwa kuhudhuria maneno kama haya. Unapata kwamba saa hizi ni kijana mdogo ambaye bado alikuwa na maisha yake. Kijana bado alikuwa na afya yake, ameenda hivyo na afya yake, na kwa sababu ni kijana bado barubaru, ni kijana bado mdogo sana, ambapo alikuwa na maisha mrefu na pia mafamilia yao walikuwa wanamtegemea, na utakuwa wazazi wake ama familia zake watakuwa wanapigania haki, watakuwa wanataka haki lazima ipatikane. Saa zingine utaangalia kwa undani zaidi, utapata kwamba familia ambao wanatoka ni familia ambayo si familia ambao ni familia ambayo maskini. Unaona, familia ambayo ni maskini, utapiganane aje? Kwa sababu maisha ya wa hao maofisa itaendelea. Unaona, hawatasema kwamba maisha yao itakuwa imesimamishwa ama nini, kwa sababu hao labda hatujui walifanya kazi kulingana na mambo ambayo waliopewa ama kulingana na venye environment ilikuwa. So mavijana tujifunze kwa nyakati na tujifunze kwa vitu ambazo sisi wenyewe mnaona ikitendeka. Itakuja mahali ikifika maisha yako ni maisha yako, si maisha ya mwanasiasa, ya. Sasa ona pesa kidogo ambayo imefanya mtoto wa watu akapoteza maisha yake, kwa sababu hata yeye unajua alikuwa yani ukiangalia kwa undani zaidi, kwa sababu alipata nafasi kusanya mavijana ambao walikuwa na 60,000 vijana, aliwasanya akawaambia bana, we kujeni hapa. Na naamini wakati ambapo labda alikuwa anaongea nao anasema kwamba labda kuna mtonyo itakuwa inatokea, kuna kitu ambacho tutapatiwa, kuna pesa kidogo ambapo tutapatiwa tukikuja katika mkutano hiki. Lakini hiyo ndio sasa pia wanasiasa pia inafaa waangalie na wale ambao wanafanya empowerment. When you're coming to do empowerment, do not tell the crowd that come, we are going to pay you something, because you are hiring those crowds, and if you hire them you have to give them money, but how much are you going to give them? Yeah. So it is a big lesson, especially to the young people, and they should learn from it. And so next time, if you are going for empowerment, especially you are invited by a politician, if you are invited, yeah, it's okay, but don't go with intention that after attending that empowerment you're going to be given money, then the money is not going to be enough. And there's something that I usually say, that where the politicians, especially the politicians, have rated Kenyan people and where they know where they are, that the soft spot is about money. Yeah. Sometimes you are like around 20 people and they give you like around maybe even 5,000, and you're 20 people. You will be looking at it. He has given us 5,000, but if you look at what you people are going to get, the share that you're going to get is way much less than what you expect. So to the young people, sometimes you need to make good decisions. If you fail to make good decisions, then mambo haitakuwa na pia ukiangalia kulingana na wenye watu wanasema ni kwamba huyu kijana ni kama alikufa ndani ya gari. Hakukufa nje. Yeah. Wacha tusikie nani anasema nini. Let me see what let's see what Fikirini is saying this time round concerning the death. I think he has recorded a statement with the officers, but there are also people who are calling for the PS to step down as the investigation continues, which is usually a norm in a democratic society, especially when in your leadership such like issues occurs. What you need to do, the moral standards requires that you step aside so investigation can continue. If investigation finds you that you're not involved, then you can continue to serve Kenyan people. But if that's not the case, then you should let's listen to what he says on his side, on his part. What does the PS says on his part?
I first and foremost want to take this opportunity to send my heartfelt sympathies and condolences to the family, friends, and loved ones of the late comrade Cecil Ouma, following his very tragic and untimely death. The circumstances around Cecil's death remain distressing and are, of course, subject of active investigations. I believe no family should have to endure such a tragic loss. I believe no youth should have his life end the way Cecil's did. And as such, I have responded to an invitation by the investigating agencies to record my statement as to what really transpired. And already, I think, as it was shared, 7 people, including 2 or 3 from my office, have already been summoned and equally shared their side. And my commitment is I will continue to make myself available for any investigation pertaining this tragic death. We will continue to support and make myself available upon request by the investigative agencies who are actively digging into this so that ultimately we can ensure that justice is done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. That is the PS for Fikirini, who was amongst the people at the incident place. Makobura, habari gani? Hello, Makobura.
Okay, yes, good evening. I'm doing good.
Yes.
I'm doing good, I thank God.
Yeah.
Tunaendelea kupambana vilivyo na hali si rahisi hivyo tu kama vile tu tunaona hapa kwa hiyo video ambayo umeweka, tunaona mwenzetu, ndugu yetu, a young man who still has, an opportunity to do a lot. His life was cut short by very unfortunate incidences that, according to me, would have been looked into keenly and sorted without getting to the point where it got to. It's that unfortunate.
Okay, Marco Bura, I was trying to at least dig deep, especially to know who the victim is, especially, and I came across a video, and this was by, I don't know whether you've seen that video, by Boniface Mwangi, and he was just giving accounts of the deceased, and he was painting a different picture than what uh, we know, than what we hear from that. And this has made me question, especially the involvement with the politicians, you know, uh, especially when it comes to mobilization and even facilitating some of the services that they procure from you, you know, and the circumstances under which now the deceased has left us. I don't know whether you had that opportunity to at least get to know more of him, especially and his personality.
Okay. What I know about this young man is, he's still a young man, and he's been in the limelight because or since his death. But then when I went through social media, I saw
Mhm,
quite a number of posts. Some of these posts actually were, I saw some photos of him with the cabinet secretary in charge of energy, Opio Wandai.
mhm,
And I've seen his photos with quite a number of, politicians, and that then brings the question, and more so, what we are seeing, majority of them are those within the government,
mm.
and in this, it is not easy. It's not an easy thing to really speak about, having in mind that this is a guy who is well known by these politicians,
Is
and
dining.
to get to an extent,
Mm,
yes, to get to an extent where he would be the one doing the mobilization
yeah.
or trying to bring youths in this kind of environments,
Mhm,
especially an environment where politicians are trying to do whether it's sensitization or whether it's uh, launching, most of the launching
mm,
sides within the side of the within the side of the government. It tells you that this is somebody who dines, who is a close associate with these politicians, and that
yeah.
again tells you that he does, or he works good, or he does well in that
Mm,
particular position that he's been serving. And
mhm,
for a politician to get to politicians, let me say politicians to mean quite a number of them,
mhm,
to trust you to the extent where you are the one on the ground doing that mobilization,
yeah.
then it means that there is some trust, or there is something
Mhm,
that you are really doing. So this gentleman, much really is not known, but the mobilization of what he kept doing, and it seems whenever he does this, there's something, either the support that is given to him or something like that.
You, you
But
know, sorry to cut you short. I'm looking at it this way because, as you said very well, that when you go to his social platform, you would see how he dance with who and who in the society, especially the
okay,
elites.
let me just give a brief of what this young man does as per what I'd seen in social media. He's
Mhm,
been providing transport
mhm,
to the youth who are being mobilized, either through the buses, motorbikes, or even fueling this particular,
mhm,
whether it's motorbike, he's the one who is, for example, given, and then he then does the fueling.
mhm,
He's also part of those teams that do offer venues for meetings or rallies for the political class. And again, he has always been charged by either contributing food, maybe chairs, these things that politicians do give, and also partly giving manpower in youth groups. Sometimes he also he's been seen acting as security marshals at time for these particular politicians. And if you see some photos that were trending, he was actually behind this particular leader when he had arrived before things escalated. He was actually, there are photos of him while he was in a cap moving around.
Yeah.
So this young man, I think, for him to get to this point, that then tells you that for him to be known, it tells you that he dines with this particular leaders.
No, now look at the irony, and that's why, like Makobura, when I was starting before you came in, I was just pleading, especially with young people of our Republic, Kenya, on how you relate with these politicians. The circumstances that surround his death is still being investigated that we cannot talk about, but it is a lesson, especially for the young people, those who have access to these leaders. If you look at the PS gave out 10,000, the 10,000 Kenya shillings, especially to give this. I don't know, it was token or it was because you were mobilized. And when you divide 10,000 amongst the 60, or you share them amongst yourself, 10,000, and the amount that you get, it doesn't dignify human being. Yeah, with the kind of economy we have, it doesn't. I'm not saying that you should not give
Yeah,
money,
it's very true.
but
Maybe just
why is it a point whereby we can make this thing for long period of time, such that we create employment for these young people, so that instead of getting this one on a daily basis, but it is something that can assist them, change that system and narrative. Because if they were mobilized, I don't think Makobura can come and mobilize you without us agreeing on what we are going to pay. There must be a price tag for us.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So
And
how does this one especially inspires, or how does this one create opportunity? And remember, this was an empowerment forum.
Brother Ben, the truth of the matter is, all these things we call empowerment, on the ground, it is a reality. All these things are done so that they can be placed on media, so that they can be sold by the bloggers. But the truth of the matter is, there is no any benefit that the common mwananchi are getting out of these consistent projects, or what that the government, through its proxies or through its members, are doing. That is the truth of the matter. And something else is, I think there is no honesty in this government. And the reason why I'm saying there's no honesty is, if you are a true government appointee or representative, you're supposed to be doing things naturally, without involvement or without trying to bring bloggers or trying to hire goons or trying to hire crowd. That is what really shows that there is no honesty within this particular government. And it also tells you that the projects or the things that they are doing in the name of helping the people are not really genuine. Because if it is a genuine thing, I'm telling you, if it's a genuine empowerment, people would simply come without them being mobilized. So there's a lot of PR that is happening over here, and this PR is partly happening because, as much as we are in Kenya, there's a government. There are so many people apart from Kenyans who are within the country who are also watching at Kenya. There's a lot that it means how economies run, and the PR. They're simply trying to use the PR to partly block what the other world are seeing. But the truth of the matter is, all these things are not, majority of it are not reality. Or if there is reality in it, then there is 10% only that is being done, but 90% is nothing. And,
Makobura, to me, what I'm looking at, I don't, I will not say that the empowerment should not be heart of what they are doing. It is okay to empower, but you have to look at the long-term solution, especially to the growing population that we have, especially.
Just on the same, do you know how many youths are there currently in Kenya? They have the knowledge, but there's nothing that they can do.
Yeah.
If you start empowering these people,
Yeah.
You're going to empower how many and how much are you going to use? Why can't you just use that money to do something that can benefit majority of them when just wherever they are without coming or going to one village? I wonder how our seniors or leaders think, because this empowerment thing is not working. It is a
But
smart way of sourcing money from the public's checker.
okay, and maybe let's look at it this way. Right now, we know quite a number of leaders, even the PS who was there. Look at 167, because if you take 10,000 divide by around 60 youths who were there, everybody was going to get like at most 167. Maybe if you round it off to the nearest 10 or to the nearest 100, it's going to be 160, or it's going to be 168, or 161, or 170. You round it off to the nearest 10.
Yeah.
That is
And
nearest 100. So it's going to be 170 shillings, Kenya shillings. That is what you're going. And now the comrade has lost his life. How many? Let's look at the money that is going to be used, especially when the leaders are going to give for his send off.
Life is not a precious thing in the Republic of Kenya, unfortunately. But what worries me is the makers of the constitution, or the drafters, or the people who came up with it. They knew life as a sacred thing, a very important thing, and they came up with quite a number of ways of ensuring that life in the Republic of Kenya is respected and that it is guarded by the maximum security that can be accorded to it. Unfortunately, what we are seeing amongst the leaders who are supposed to be partly making and ensuring that the constitution is followed, by consistently doing oversight and all those things that they're supposed to be doing, they're the ones who are taking partly law on their hands. They're the ones who are creating chaos. And whenever this chaos have been created, they take advantage to make it worse. This was a crisis that was created by this particular politician. He knew very well 150, let's put it so, cannot. Remember, these people, they came with motorbikes. Now in the Republic of Kenya, 1 liter fuel, one liter is not less than 200 shillings. And the question is, these people came with motorbikes. How are they even going to get back with it? How are they even going to get something to eat out of that particular amount of money? And if they raised that, the best thing that this leader would have done is simply increasing the amount that he had given, because under his presence, all these things, or these people are mobilized to come. There wasn't need.
And mobilization, he was very aware that there was a mobilization, and I think like he might have we are not very sure, but he might have had a conversation prior to him having that empowerment meeting to the young boy that need you to mobilize for me amount of this one, and I think for sure they might have also have agreed on the amount that they should have been paid, because this is something that have always been done. It was not something that it was very new.
It is done. Even whenever the president himself is going to places, it is on the public domain. It has always been documented in the medias. It has always been on news. So it is a normal thing that they do. But why would they make it deadly? Deadly affair.
I think Makobura. I think it goes back to the moral fabric of our nation. What morals, especially, are we breeding as a nation, or what are the guiding or the moral guiding that are guiding us in everything that we do? And we've always said here that it's not only with the government or leaders in the government, but it is with all our leaders. There's one thing that our leaders have really perfected: this issue of procuring, especially whenever they go for their usual meeting, especially for the young people. Instead of creating employment, sustainable employment. But I think they take advantage of the situation that is there, that there's no employment and the youths are very hungry, are hustling. So if they give you that we are going to get 100 shillings, that those who are going to accept, but we don't create sustainable, especially employment for these young people. And I told you that we are going to be here, especially you will get what leaders are going to, especially to contribute, especially to give the young man a befitting send off, you know you know and another question also people are asking, maybe to weigh the moral nature or the moral dictates that, especially like the PS who was involved. I think as an investigation is going on, he should step aside and give way for investigation. If he's cleared, then he can resume his duties, but he has not stepped aside.
It's not in the culture of, I don't know whether to say Africa or Kenyans,
Yeah.
to be behaving decently. Most of the leaders, by simply stepping aside, it is not an offense. It is not. It is a way of simply showing decency. It is a way of showing good leadership. Stepping aside is one of the best character. Thing that any leader can do.
Mhm.
It shows that partly you are remorseful. It shows that partly the activity or something that might had happened.
Mhm.
I wonder how our leaders really think, but it's that unfortunate. And to make it
Uh,
worse, this is a young man, a youth, who was elevated by fellow youths, fellow comrades. Remember how and when his name came to be.
yeah.
Remember that rally when Raila was moving through Kilifi, through
Mhm.
his tour, in the coastal region, when fellow youths shouted and said that,
He should
allow
be
us,
given that job.
allow us to present our son who also wants to, give his views. And he gave his views very well. And out of the support of the young people, out of
Yeah.
the support of comrades,
Mhm.
he was noticed. And because of that, today he is PS, courtesy of fellow youths. Why would
And
he forgot?
and that is now what happened.
I don't know if you've watched.
Yeah.
I think you should just review the speech of this young gentleman
Uh,
when he was first speaking, coming to the limelight. I don't know
yeah.
if I can find it so that I just play it for you for just few minutes. Let me just find it.
Okay, find it as we continue. Okay, Makobura, just look for that speech. We can play so that but it's quite much unfortunate, even especially for the family and you know and everyone. And this is a learning moment for us, a learning moment for lesson. And it's also even in the political class, it is um, uh, somewhere now we should start to think of clean politics. This politics of tokenism, or this politics of taking advantage or taking advantage of the gap that we have, and at the end of the day it doesn't create long-term solution. You know i i i, I think is not a very good idea, and I think it's not only for the administration of the day, not it is for even the leaders in opposition, all provided that you are called a leader, you are in the political class, you are elected. The idea of procuring young people and at the end of the day giving them something that even cannot put on food on the table, I think is it is okay right now, so that the leader should start talking about of creating long-lasting solutions, especially uh, especially to create employment for young people. Solution, these are long-term solution, and if they have employment rather than this small tokenism, this does not help at all, and it even does not build economy. It will always be a place whereby people are just hiring. Okay, you can play it. You can share the full screen. Can you do full screen?
Comrades, power! Comrades, Ria! Comrades, wisdom! Comrades, the magic of human achievement gives an irrefutable proof that as soon as the nationalism of any country is awakened among the youth, it becomes the vanguard against impunity. Comrades, power! Comrades, power! Comrades, I want to tell you right here today before Baba that Kenya shall only rise up to the extent that we embrace her history in our hearts, and that the future of this country is rightly in our shoulders. Comrades, there has been a talk on this country today that this is the Mandela moment for us. And I want to tell you, we as learners in the university today associate ourselves rightly with the history today. And to tell you that historical aloofness is always prerequisite to political delinquency. Comrades, power! Raila Odinga is going to form the 5th government of the Republic of Kenya. Goal number 17 of the Global Development Goals talks about partnership. The youth are no longer going to be supporters but partners. And Baba, we can tell you, we are bringing the youthful force in this country to you, not as mere supporters, but as partners to this revolutionary cause. Because you, Baba, comrades, power, comrades, Ria, because you, Baba, you are the father of the modern day democracy in this country. Comrades, power, because you, Baba, you are the chief proprietor of the philosophy of liberation in this country. Baba, deeply and on behalf of all the youthful students and all the youth of this country, we assure you that the future is youthful. Forward, youth, forward. Forward, youthful future, forward. Forward to friendly policies, forward. Forward to implementation, forward. Comrades, power. Thank you so much.
Okay, Makobura, yes, that speech was very powerful. I remember it very well. And, if you listen to it, the speech was very inspirational, and the speech was very motivating. But like he carried the vision of the youths and everything that he said, and now and this now is falling under his doorstep, especially for somebody who knew especially what youths are going through. And I tend to believe that he was given an opportunity as a PS, especially in his docket. He could come up with the strategies even on how to empower these youth. And how do you empower them? You empower them by providing for them a sustainable employment, not token, Then how can you create that, especially in the Ministry of Youth? There are so many things that are happening, especially in the Ministry of Youth, where he is. Especially talk about the nurturing of talents, talk about on how even like those who are engaged in things like entertainment, how they can get their royalties. You come up with the policies, especially that can favor these young people. So I think he's in that office where there's so much that he should do to the youths that are in his shoulders, but this one has put him in the wrong side of history, and how will you defend yourself, and what will you say at the time when all this was happening? What action did you take? This, he has quite a number of difficult questions to deal with, and this is going to be some of the things in his history that will be with him forever, especially as a youth, and this one happened in his presence. Makobura, unmute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was saying that this whole thing, like you've said, the story of Fikirini, and based on what we've just watched, it simply clarifies and his speech first speaks on behalf of the youths, and that should be a good indication that this is a representative of the youths. And just like you said, he would have been there to represent and to speak positively
Mm-hmm.
and with a lot of courage on matters that are going to empower the youths.
Yeah.
How I wish, having reviewed this particular video that we've just played, it
Mm.
is a good reminder. It is a good reminder to us in the sense that it simply tells us where this young man has come from. We loved him from how he spoke. We loved him from all those things that is he spoke about.
Yeah.
He's a youth. He spoke about youth, and it is so clear that he understood the true challenges of this particular nation. He
Mm.
understood the true challenges of this particular generation, and he represented it so much, so well, very articulate. There's no good way of saying how nice he presented himself.
Okay.
How I wish we could carry the decency with us. How I wish that whatever we speak would be would reflect who we truly are. But again, it is not so wrong. I mean, it is not so long that we've seen leaders being given an opportunity,
Mm.
and the moment they get into power, they simply forget their role. They simply forget where they've come from. They simply forget their families. They simply forget their root. It is not strange, and that is
No.
why Senior Counsel James Orengo once said in the Parliament, and it is in record, that sometimes you can be given some positions mpaka unashindwa kazi yako ni gani. Unaweza pewa mamlaka ushindwe sasa hata kazi yako ni gani. And
Mm.
again, he also went ahead and said that power can corrupt mind, and when it does, it becomes tough to really relieve or to get the person that has drunk into power from that particular position, or from that particular mentality, or from that particular thinking. It is so tough, and
Okay. All
it's
right.
that unfortunate. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Makobura. We will be following up on what the news are going to unfold in this issue. Makobura, let's talk about Jimmy Wanjigi. Jimmy Wanjigi, yesterday he had an opportunity to meet with Rigathi Gachagua in Wamunyoro, and this one has sparked conversation online, and people say that why would Jimmy Wanjigi or why would Rigathi Gachagua and Jimmy Wanjigi meet? But like we all know that we are approaching 2027 general election. There are political realignments, and cutting off deals or pre-packed, especially because Jimmy Wanjigi has a political party, Rigathi Gachagua has a political party. So anything is possible. And this happened the other day. Then the day before that, Jimmy Wanjigi was talking about Rigathi Gachagua, but he did not give him that positive talk though. But now he has gone, they've met. Maybe from your own perspective or from where you sit, what could be the reason why Jimmy Wanjigi would have a conversation with Rigathi Gachagua?
Yes. The question that you've asked about Jimmy Wanjigi and Rigathi Gachagua, they are politicians. It is
Mhm.
not strange that politicians are getting together to simply, decide or make a decision on the future or what they want to do in the near future. It is not strange. They are all politicians, they are all party leaders, they have their own political parties, and they are all looking for supporters, they are all looking for power, they
Yeah.
are all looking for, uh, you know, uh, one seat, that is presidency. So
Mhm.
from where I sit,
Mm.
and any politician who is really interested in that particular presidency, they
Mm.
can never say no to whoever is coming to support them. And that
Okay.
is why, if you can remember keenly, somebody like Martha Karua, she
Mm.
was very specific. Remember, she ran for the deputy, She was the deputy president running mate for Raila Amolo Odinga.
Yes.
If you can keenly do a review and see how Martha Karua did describe Rigathi Gachagua, you would ask yourself if these people would one day sit in one room. But today they do. Look at Rigathi Gachagua, how she described Martha Karua. And all these are politics, so it is not strange. And I can say that Jimmy Wanjigi is one of those politicians who is very smart, moneyed, and of course does well calculation. Rigathi Gachagua is also doing the same. They are all looking for a support base, and possibly the Mount Kenya region, where we have the bigger percentage of people in terms of population. But again, Rigathi Gachagua, Jimmy Wanjigi has his fan base. Rigathi Gachagua has his fan base. Them coming together to partly unite this particular fan base to possibly give one candidate would be an added advantage to them. And any one of them in whatsoever position they're looking for. And truth be said again, I don't think any one of them, if Rigathi decides to support Jimmy would say no. Or if Jimmy decides, they will welcome it with two hands. And that is the truth of the matter. And again, something else is, remember, it is this union, or should they have talked about something related to 2027 and the possible way of them coming to ensure that they win, it is it can work out. This, Jimmy Wanjigi is a tycoon. He's moneyed, and that's a fact. He supported Raila so many times. He funded Raila so many times. He's one of those richest politicians that we have in, that we have around the Mount Kenya region. But again, what I can say is, Jimmy is a strategist. I don't know whether you've been following how he's been having his interviews, the recent interviews. He's a very learned. Actually, I remember, the issue of Jimmy Wanjigi, there's a time that he was being questioned where he went to school. And later on, we were told that he didn't finish his degree and he was getting it somewhere. And then people started questioning if really he didn't get a degree with all this knowledge that he has and how he dissects the economy. I think those were just politics, but I'll just leave it to that. He's a clever guy who can do very much well in terms or in anything to do with the economy. He's one of those big tanks that ran the government of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta in the first term. And partly some time back, they were close allies of Mwai Kibaki as well. And they understand how government is run. They understand the basic running of the government. He understands. Let me put it this way. If you remember very well, sometimes back it used to be said that Uhuru was not really driving the vehicle. That there were so many people driving the vehicle behind the scene. He was simply a representative of them.
Yeah.
Those were the likes of Jimmy Wanjigi. They were the ones who were doing all the negotiations, some of the negotiation or running of some projects within the Republic of Kenya. And that is why he has always been somebody who has had a lot of knowledge in terms of how governments are run. He has had a lot of knowledge on how secrets within the governments also operates.
Okay, I agree with you. I was just looking into details what could have necessitated, especially for the two politicians to meet, and I was narrowing down to the election of 2027. From where I sit, I think the two might have met, one, to talk about the pre-pack, especially for the 2027, because what we know, especially for those who are running against President William Ruto, it will not be very easy, especially for them to win if they tend to go like solo candidates against President William Ruto. That the candidacy or the presidency of President William Ruto is a tough one because he has all it takes. So I think two of them have realized that we cannot uh, um, run against President William Ruto, because all of them share the same ideal. One thing, that they want to take out President William Ruto from power, but now they need to have what we call the APRIPAC election. That could have been one of the reasons that they could have gone into negotiation and say that, how can we especially come together and made a pre-pack deal so that we see a way in which to defeat the president. That is one of them. Second one, I was looking at against in terms of you look at the central Kenya, because both both Rigathi Gachagua and Jimmy Wanjigi are from Mount Kenya. Remember, right now, there are so many people who view Mount Kenya as a battleground. And why? What do I mean by a battleground? Uh, that both President William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua are trying to get control of Mount Kenya, even though the people who believe that Rigathi Gachagua is more popular, or there is quite a larger percentage of Mount Kenya voters that have rejected President William Ruto, bearing in mind that in 2022 they voted for him. So by them coming together, especially leaders from Mount Kenya, I think this was a way in which they want to consolidate, especially the votes from the mountain, those who are supporting the Jimmy Wanjigi and those who are supporting Rigathi Gachagua. They can come together and negotiate on how are we going to move forward and come up with a winning formula, especially to make sure that they lock out President William Ruto from Mount Kenya. So those are some of the reasons that I think, me from where I sit, that Rigathi Gachagua and Jimmy Wanjigi were having those meetings. Maybe if you have something to add out there.
Yeah. Uh, okay, whatever you've said, it's true. It is true that we are headed towards 2027. And I've always said that there's a lot which are happening in terms of alignment, political alignment, which include political parties starting to negotiate or to come together, or possibly to set a strategy or a formula on how they might get to that, they might win the election. That is the biggest, that has always been the biggest thing that political parties are eyeing for. So the two coming together, I'll just try to expound on what you said. They're both coming from the Mount Kenya region. That is a fact. And like I said, Rigathi Gachagua has a support base. Majority of them from the Mount Kenya region. Jimmy Wanjigi has a support base. Yes, I can say majority from the Mount Kenya region, but him, I think he's been moving around, and his deputy comes from Siaya. That is our good friend. Actually, we've hosted him here. Wakili Pikipiki Ponki. And I can say that Jimmy has his support base as well. A combination of these two different support base coming together, like I'd said, is an added advantage to whoever is going to run for that particular seat. And again, just like you've said, Rigathi Gachagua is against the president. Jimmy Wanjigi is also coming out to vehemently describe this government as one that is not capable and should not be given a chance to, proceed in the second term. And he has given reasons. He has given a lot of clarification in terms of economy, and he's done even the mathematics. He has done all the explanations. He understands and he knows, according to him, that this government should not be given an opportunity. He has his reasons. Rigathi Gachagua is doing the same. So them coming together, it was simply setting a strategy on how to politically attack the ruling government so that they can come to a point where they'll be speaking to their electorate or to their supporters in a language that is similar, a language that is well understood by their support base. That is number one. And again, maybe to just add, they're all in this field. Remember, Rigathi said, I'm going for it. Jimmy is also saying, I'm going for it. So these are two people having a similar dream. That similar dream, they know very well that the person that they want to remove, or the person who is holding that dream, is one William Samoei Arap Ruto. He's not a weakling man. He's not a weakling politician. He's not easy to defeat. And so without a strategy, they understand and they know very well that they can go nowhere. And that is why they're coming together to set the strategy on how possible, which formula, which electorate, which regions should they focus or should they tackle to ensure that they get the opportunity to take the President William Samoei Ruto home. That would be my take on that.
Okay, thank you. And another angle that I also was looking at it, I was looking at it in terms of business. You know, Jimmy Wanjigi is a business person, and maybe based on his pollsters or his scientific um, uh, um, pollsters, he have come to realize, or he might have seen that maybe the opposition, if they unite, they can win the presidency or they can get administration. So you have to start cutting deals, especially things to do with tendering, because you know government has a lot of tendering. And you know, for you to get those tenders, you have to be friends with those who are in government. And if you look at it, especially in the united opposition, Rigathi Gachagua tend to control stake and tend to have a major say. So he's one person that is trying to align himself, especially to maybe to the winning team, in favor of getting business. That one also is that could have been one of the reasons he might also visited Rigathi Gachagua. Another thing that also we cannot count out, or we cannot fail to mention, is about the issue of for coming up with a winning team. And a winning team, I'm looking at it in terms of the elective seats, because you remember Jimmy has been running for highest office, especially for the presidency, or he's been eyeing to run for presidency for a long time. And being somebody who has a background, especially in matters to do with finance, or the matters to do with the economy, so he's looking a situation where give and take, especially how can I even get a governorship of Nairobi, or what position would I get? And if I offer you this support, what am I going to get in return? So those political deals, we can also not rule out, especially the issue of infiltration. You know, all these political campaigns, or both these political camps, they have the spies that are being sent by their opponents. So some people are also arguing like Jimmy might be a spy spying on Rigathi Gachagua, especially to know their strategy, then maybe might share it with the government, because right now you can sign any political deal with any other party that is running, because the field is still free. So where your interest is catered for, so that one also can be what Jimmy Wanjigi was doing. These are just some of the things that we are thinking that could be the main reason
And
why they met.
Brother Ben, okay, just my thinking. Personally, I don't think that is possible, based on the fact that uh, if you know, sometimes it's also a strategy. Well, and the PR is also there with the consistency that Jimmy has always had.
Yeah.
In ensuring that he exposes this government, I don't think that is possible. And maybe to just add,
Makobura, politics is interest, my brother. If your interests are catered for, because like despite the fact that Rigathi Gachagua, people do not like his art of politics, but how many people have been mentioning who wants to work with him despite all that? So provided that their interest can be met, it's about your interest, then you can work with anybody in political landscape. I don't think like they have like enemies and say that I'm not going to work with this person.
Okay, then maybe something else that might have also been a reason is we are headed towards campaign. The campaign has already started. There is a lot that is needed in terms of finance, financial resources. That might also be a reason.
Yes.
Remember, Jimmy is, like I'd said, moneyed. Rigathi is also moneyed, but well, they are a group of people. They need to do what we call, pool resources together to ensure that
mobilization of the resources for their presidential campaign, very important.
Yes. So that might also have been a point of discussion. just by ensuring, for example, Rigathi is one of I don't know whether to call the what one of the big wigs within the opposition,
Mm.
and Jim is also one of the big wigs in terms of politics and, of course, in terms of finance. So that again can or might have also been a discussion point in that particular meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That one is true, especially you've talked about finance. Running a presidential campaign is not very easy. And that's why I was telling you that cutting deals in prior. And when you want to go for campaign, especially now, especially coming up as a coming talking and say that, okay, just in case if we win, what are my returns? What am I going to benefit from? I might not produce a candidate, or I might not get position in the political office, but there are things that I'm negotiating for, especially when it comes to tender. What tenders will I get to supply the government with? Because you know that government, if you do the supply, you cannot miss out on payment, and they're usually very lucrative tenders. So those are some of the things that could have made them to meet, because this is politics. One of the strategies, then you have to um, find a way in which where you are, especially your interests are. Okay, Makubura, maybe if you have something to, because like we are almost winding up, or
Okay. My closing remarks would be, let politicians come together.
Mhm,
We understand they have different political mentality, they have different political interest.
mhm,
But the bigger interest, let them put the interest of the country at hand. While they are getting into these negotiations, while they are getting into these deals,
mhm,
let them have the heart of the country
mm.
before they present their personal interest.
Okay.
Let them discuss about issues in the republic before they discuss about their personal issues. That would
Mm.
be my closing remarks.
Okay, thank you so much, Makobura, for that, and putting the interest of the people at heart. There are different political affiliation. We have those who are singing two-term. There are those who are singing one-term. At the end of the day, all these slogans for political reasons, they all want power, and they want to provide. Good leadership for the country, or they want to provide services for the country. And as you say, that let's put the country first. And this one also goes to the young people. I think the young people um, should kind of like have ways in which they do their politics, especially this idea of hiring them for creating mayhem, creating chaos, being part of the numbers, or for photo shoot and all that. At the end of the day, after the deal is done, you are not on the table. You do campaign, you do write, you become a blogger and do that. At the end of the day, you find yourself like after achieving, you are nowhere to be seen. By the way, Makobura, uh, Daktari Dr. Oburu Odinga, the Gen Z and the power leader, has acquired new a campaign uh, machine. Nimeona amewekewa gari mpya na speakers, ni kama ameunda sasa. Sound itakuwa iko sawa pale kwa mheshimiwa Oburu Odinga, so nimeona hayo. Ndindi Nyoro pia niliona alikuwa na magari ambayo labda anataka kukampeni nayo. Inamaanisha safari imeanza, kwamba siasa imeanza. Sasa tusubiri tuone itakuwa vipi. Yeah. Okay. For those who are watching us, tomorrow we will come and discuss about Linda Mwananchi. We were supposed to discuss about it, but we are running out of time, so we need tomorrow time to come and talk about Linda Mwananchi. We are seeing the Linda Mwananchi is splitting. Caleb Amisi is speaking different language. Babu Owino just told him that if he has a problem with Linda Mwananchi or these leadership wrangles, that instead of going to public, just come, let us solve it privately. Now Linda Mwananchi pia wako Kisii for 2 days. They will be there on Friday, kesho and Saturday. So we will see the reception that they are going to get from Kisii. We know Kisii is Kibagendi is in Kisii. We have Onyonka. We have who? What is this other guy?
The one from Suba, Carol Omondi.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the leaders from Kisii who will be hosting Wakina Sifuna in Kisii. We have Kibagendi. We have Kibagendi, we have Onyonka. I hope the Nyamira senator will be there. This guy is called Gisairo. Yeah, we have Gisairo. So those are like
it's called Clive Gisairo.
Yeah, Gisairo. Yeah, so those are the leaders from Kisii. So tomorrow we will be watching keenly what is going to take place at Kisii, and I hope when they'll be having the Linda Mwananchi rally in Kisii, they will address this issue of wrangling. Barongo. Yeah, they will address this issue, and actually they should form a political party, because I don't see Sifuna going back to ODM. Hata rudi huko saizi haezi rudi, hata kienda kotini, hiyo itakuwa kotini kule miaka 20, lakini hata rudi. Kwa hayo machache tumewashukuru sana. Wacha tukutane kesho tukiwa tukiendelea kujadili mambo ambayo ipo katika habari ama zinagongwa vichwa vya habari. Asante sana Makobura.